guess I probably could have at least moved this. Yeah, my desk is currently a workshop. It's an active construction zone, and the amount of effort it would take to move all of this to the floor and then back up, it would just not make sense. And I would lose track of definitely all of the well thought out and heavily organized tools. What's up, YouTube? Jason here with Jason Bites Back, episode number 70 for you Spanish impaired people just like me. In today's episode, I'm going to start the video off with noises from my dog. Can you leave her alone? Like just for 5 seconds. Today, I want to start off this video with a healthy reminder that backups are great. So whether you stop this video right now and check it, or you do it after the video, I heavily recommend just imagining you have data failure and you need to go find whatever it is you need to get whatever it is that fails back up and running with everything that you have. I recommend two things. One, your main computer, all your documents and desktop stuff, everything that you use normally, any files you work with. Just imagine you wake up one day and they're gone. What would you access in order to get those back? Like go and try and see and just make sure that it's working. Or number two, what leads me to this is maybe an Unraid or whatever flavor of server you use. If you just happen to accidentally delete all of your app data, are you able to go somewhere and get all of your Docker and all of your app data information back? Did you just so happen to remove an old unmanaged plugin and then install a new plugin and it backed up bad files and you almost did not get all your app data back? I don't know. That may or may not have happened to me. If your USB dies right now, do you have an active backup of everything you need to get your Unraid system back up and running? The point is, I heavily recommend just double checking, make sure everything is there, make sure you can pull stuff up, make sure it's actually working. And totally not a shameless plug or anything, but I have not only been, this is currently for my workstation computer, I have not only just had major recent upgrades to my server that I'm still working on because of the drive and the copying and a bunch of stuff that I'm running in the background. It's how you lose data sometimes. But I also upgraded my main computer to a 13900K, which I'm recorded parts of that. And in my process, I'm sorting and moving and cleaning everything up and getting things ready to just be more streamlined. And, I may or may not have forgot some files and had to go into my Synology, which they have that active backup for business software built right into it, where I have like 346 versions of my desktop. And it was so nice to be able to just like go back in time and just be like every single image that I wanted, I could just pick a file from the desktop or whatever it is that I think I lost. Like that has been very helpful. I actually tied that software into Loki to back up the app data, but I didn't configure it properly. So when I went in there to retrieve some files, I couldn't find them. So I got it set up now, but just that's why I want to remind you, just make sure your backups are up and running, make sure they're functioning, make sure everything's good to go. So let's go ahead and jump into the first question. It is from Pro4TLZZ, who is unfortunately a YouTube member of mine. That means he is subscribed to me. I'm really, really sorry about your luck on that. He said, definitely crazy. You have no idea. He is, of course, referring to my most current obsession and or rabbit hole, and that is just backup power, generator power. And I just spent yesterday, parts of today, hooking up a generator inlet box, and it has been a very interesting adventure. Nerve-wracking, but interesting. True, like F it, do it live style, messing with the electrical panel box, plugging in, the new 50 amp inlet breaker and getting everything wired. I got the separate transfer switch box because the way I'm doing this is probably a little weird. My main panel is going to have a generator inlet box to where if I run a generator and plug it in, up to 50 amps worth, I can power basically everything in my house. On top of that, that panel is going to feed a sub panel that has an automatic transfer switch. This sub panel will feed specific circuits that I would, no matter what, want to keep running with a battery backup. Ideally, once I'm done with all this, it's going to take a while to get to that very end part, but once I'm done with all this, get everything set up and wired, I will have key circuits in my house, like, lights and garage door openers and stuff like that. I'll have key circuits in my house that will automatically flip over to a backup battery source in the case of a power failure. And then if the power is predicted or has been out for too long, I could always stroll out the generator, plug it into my house, and not only charge batteries, but then power my house. So it's kind of a weird setup, but it's something that I just want to do because I don't want the whole house powered by batteries. All I want is like key things. I definitely don't want to have to like manually open up my garage door. I just don't want to do that. All right, next question and or comment is from Mumad Bios. He says, how do you like the Emporia Energy Monitor? He was commenting on one of the videos that I was talking about all the stuff that I'm doing right here. And actually, I love it. I love it when I would need it. I love it when I want to look at it. It's been useful for me in the past. It's like one of those things of like, I'm trying to gauge how much power I use over a course of a day, which has kind of led me to where I am as far as not wanting to back up the whole house, maybe only wanting to back up certain circuits on battery. I've been able to use the Emporia energy monitor to see like what the energy consumption is during certain parts. Like let's say in the middle of the day, how much is my AC running? Like, well, obviously that's not gonna be something that I would run that off of a battery. I mean, I could probably run it for like 45 minutes, but do I want to do that? Which even then I'd have to do like a soft start, modification to the AC. So, yeah. But I can definitely say that it's not something that I use all the time. Like it's not something that I'm just constantly looking at and just monitoring my energy usage and just, obsessing over it. It's just one of those data collection tools that I like to have just in case I need to reference it. But when I do need to reference it, it's nice. But there is some stuff that I don't like, and mainly that is just how cluttered it makes my electrical panel box. Like the wires, it's kind of a weird setup. Like you clamp it onto the wires and then you plug it in using a headphone audio jack connector. There's no way to shorten the wires. There's no way to clean up your installation. It's limited to 16, so it's not going to be able to measure everything. You kind of have to pick and choose. I mean, there's limits to it. I know someone else who has 2 of them, and it's a messy install. It's a rat's nest. I don't like how messy it is. I've considered using that other one if it's like a red one or an orange one or something. It's like Sense, has fewer wires on it, but I don't know. Since I'm doing all this stuff with the electrical stuff, with the sub panels and the transfer switch stuff like that, I may have to reevaluate what I'm using and how I'm using it if I'm going to use it. So the Sense, that product Sense that I was talking about, that basically goes around the main lines and then it uses like AI to just distinguish what is what without actually having to, go on every single circuit. So it might not be as accurate, but it would be less clutter. I don't know if I'm gonna do that just yet. It's just something that's been on my mind. So yes, I do like it, but it is a rat's nest. So there's that. Next question is from, I have a few drives, so it's easier to use alternate method of cutting the corresponding cable, the power connector. Okay, Dave. Dave over here is talking about shucking drives. And this, whatever it is that he says, yeah, whatever. However, I wanted to talk to Dave and everybody else in the shucking community about shucking and ask the question, is shucking dead? At least for now, and hear me out. Back in the good old days, you could shuck a hard drive and save yourself like $60, $80, $100. I don't know, maybe more, but at least $80 or $100 getting a hard drive just out of a USB enclosure. These were legitimate savings, and in the terms of trying to build a server like I did with a massive quantity of drives, like that kind of money savings was worth it. I built my entire server off, well, most of my entire server off of white label drives that I shucked out of enclosures. It was a big deal for me and it saved me a bunch of money and it allowed me to build my server. Absolutely zero complaints about what I did, no regrets, it was totally awesome. But now I'm looking at the market and I've been asked this question, like, are you still a shucker? My answer is no, but the reason why I feel like needs to be said. Feel free to chime in the comments down below, but here's my take on this. For Dave 597 over here, I'm just gonna use an 18 terabyte Western Digital Easy Store or whatever brand, that they do for the USB drives. But if you go to Amazon.com and you look up one of these USB drives through Western Digital and you were to buy one, right? If you were to actually get one, shuck it, you pull out a Western Digital white drive. Now, previously, these white drives used to always be 5400 RPMs. They were just like basic WD Reds. They weren't WD Red Pro, so they weren't 7200s. So automatically you got the slower drive. On top of that, you basically lost the 3-year warranty and you only got a 1 year. Now, this is like a whole topic by itself, right? In the United States, you could argue with Western Digital and you could get it covered. It's like the right to repair or whatever. You'd be like, hey, the drive itself failed. The fact that it's out of its case doesn't matter. And legally, you can go back and forth with them. They would have to cover you, but it could be a ginormous pain in the butt. And depending on how easy you back down or what customer service rep just didn't want to do it, whatever, it could just be a hassle. Technically speaking, if you're in the US, you're supposed to have at least a 1-year warranty on it, I think. I'm not a lawyer, but when I submitted warranties in the past, I was always able to get my warranty passed. But if you were to buy a WD Red drive, an OEM version, you get 3 years. As long as you didn't actually mess the drive up, it wouldn't be any problem with warranty. You send it in, they send you a new one or a refurbished one, and you're good to go. So the shucking and the risk of warranty, that's what you get, right? Depending on where you are you going to have a warranty? And even if you're in the United States, are you going to get a warranty without having to fight for it? And then you have the guaranteed slow drive. However, you saved $100 doing it. So to me, it was worth it. But with the Western Digital 18 terabytes, you can go to like Camel is the website to where you can see what the highs and the low prices of a certain product are. And you can see that basically the WD Pro 18 terabytes, the 7,200 RPMs, and then the WD 18 terabyte USB drives, $299. One is a WD Red, 7,200 RPM, WD Red Pro, actually, Red drive with its, warranty that comes with it. I think it's 3 years. The other is a USB drive where you're still actually going to get a 7,200 RPM drive, but you're going to have issues possibly with the warranty. And we are literally looking at two devices that can be and sometimes often are the same price. Now, this argument of mine does not factor in things like Best Buy, who have those super flash sales that might still save you money. I'm not saying that you cannot save money, get deals, find these drives considerably cheaper than what the other drives have ever been. I'm not saying that's not a thing. So I'm not saying it's completely dead. But for me, I'm upgrading drives and my servers as I go. I just get a 20 terabyte whenever I want to afford one, and then that's it. Like, I'm not going to wait for another shuck drive thing. I'm not going to look out for sales and then just go bananas. Like, I'm kind of over that. At this point, I really just want the red, the labels. I want to make sure they're warranty covered, and I just want to avoid any potential issues. And if I end up paying $20 or $30 more for that drive, I'm basically okay with that. But hey, I'd love to know what you guys think about this, like knowing that you might have to fight for the warranty, knowing you're getting white label drives, which could potentially be drives that are not up to, red label specs, but, still kind of red label specs, and knowing that you're probably not going to save as much money as you used to be able to in the past. What do you think about shucking? Is it dead? Is it dying? Or is it still alive? Next question is from Finn. It says, in case my UPS and battery backup fails, tell me your weak electrical network, bro. Never experienced more than one outage in a few minutes per year yet. Well, it's not always about how bad it is. Honestly, my neighborhood is not terrible. I can say that probably it's not actually as bad as it used to be, but it used to be, at least a year or two ago, about every month, maybe have 3 or 4 flickers. A flicker would be like a couple seconds off and then everything comes back on. Those flickers really kind of led me into the battery backup thing. And then we had, I want to say maybe 4 or 5 months ago, we had about a month and a half where they were doing some work in the area, like with another neighborhood. And we were like for a month and a half, multiple times, it was like 6 hours without power. This does not happen anymore. It's just something that happened before. And it just got me thinking. I'm like, man, I do live in Tornado Alley. I'm in Kansas, right? We had a tornado go through in Andover. It was really close to it. The power got knocked out and we were low priority to get repaired. What would I do? Honestly, I would rather be just a little prepared in the case of emergency that I could power something. I mean, that's personal preference. Not that I need it all the time. I don't live in Florida. We don't have hurricanes every week. I mean, my power grid's not going down every day. It's not that bad. But if something happens, it'd be nice to be able to plug in a generator and power my house and get everything back up and running. Next question is from Anon Amos. He says, your content is all over the place, dude. You need to get a new sponsor or something to get back on track. You're absolutely right. My content is all over the place because I have a very short attention span when it comes to whatever it is that I'm dealing with. There's some things that I definitely hold on to longer than others, but I started this channel with Plex. I did a lot of things with Plex. kind of ran out of things that I really wanted to talk about with Plex. And then Plex kind of diverted and they're starting to do rental stuff and things like that. But anyways, now it's just like, I did a robot vacuum thing. I'm on batteries, I'm on inverters, rebuilding servers. Like it just kind of depends. If you start a YouTube channel and you're just like, I want to talk about boxes. Every video is about a box. And you make a new video and you're like, look at this box, look at this box, look how it opens, look what color it is, look at the shade, the shape. Like how many videos can you make about a box before you're just tired of boxes? I try not to get too out of hand, but for me, new stuff is interesting. So I do like to explore new options. If that's a security camera or a battery or a new server, I don't know. It depends on the month. What I do know though is that being all over the place does keep me interested in technology and interested in doing things and on YouTube and stuff like that. It keeps it interesting because I enjoy learning new stuff. I enjoy getting things wrong and learning from those mistakes. Believe it or not, that's kind of fun sometimes. So I enjoy doing that stuff. That's what allows me to do it. Tune in next week and I'm going to review Velcro. Next question is from James Person. He says, thoughts on the LTT Plex / Jellyfin video? Well, I don't remember what I said about it last time. Last time I went on kind of a tangent and then I cut the entire thing out. If you guys don't know, Linus did a live stream. He was talking about Plex and the direction they've been in and how they're kind of chasing the new video on demand, the rental stuff, like just things that they could do to like pull in money and stuff like that. And then they've been ignoring some bugs, and Plex used to be a sponsor of my channel, then they decided not to. They started sponsoring Linus, and then Linus didn't want to take their sponsorship anymore just because they haven't been keeping up with bugs. And then he just made a public statement. He's like, hey, until you focus yourself in the direction of taking care of your core audience, I'm not going to be making any more Plex videos. So then he started talking about Jellyfin and how it compares and some of the features, things like that. My entire take on it is that I agree with a lot of what he said about Plex. He just kind of said it out loud. They have refocused themselves. They're, unless it's like a fire bug, like the Android thing, it's like stuff's on fire. They have to divert their dev team. It doesn't really seem like they're smashing any bugs or taking care of their core audience. They seem way more focused on more widely accepted protocols like, renting videos on demand or, having streaming rights with ads and stuff like that. Like if I had to take a wild shot in the dark, a wild guess, right? I would say they're ramping up to legitimize themselves enough to be sold for, $1 billion to Disney or something, and then just wipe their hands clean of the entire thing because they built their user base and they have the views and the active daily users, and all they can do is now prove that they can make money off of something else, and then they can sell. I'm not saying they're selling, I'm just speculating here. But since we're in the streaming wars thing, like all this stuff going on, all these little subscription things and everything like that, like, would you not be like surprised if Plex just like ramped up and said, hey, look how many active monthly users we have. We launched these video on demand services. We get this ad revenue. Look at all these members we have. Look how marketable we are as a package. Who wants to buy us? Warner Brothers, Disney, whatever, Hulu, like any of those can come in and just like, yes, we want to absorb that into our, tree of things. So if you consider that as a possible mindset, you would probably understand why, their original user base doesn't really get a lot of attention anymore. If you're ramping yourself up potentially to sell and get out of the game and you want to get away from the gray market, user base maybe that you've been associated with, and you're trying to distance yourself from how you actually started in this game just because you want to sell yourself later, that would be how you do it. You slowly just kind of drop features and don't worry about stuff and start doing all the new crap and, just make yourself a nice package to sell. Again, it's all theory, it's all guessing, but this is where we've been with Plex. Plex has just kind of been a thing and it's been, whatever. That's my thoughts on it. Anyway, next question is from Major Yoshi. Says, I don't recall if you've done a video on this, but would you consider trying out the Synology surveillance system? No, maybe, but probably not. I started this whole thing with the whole Synology backup thing, which is probably one of the best backup solutions I've ever used, including I used to use Acronis. The Synology Active Backup is just so fast, easy to use, and it's just so thorough. It is amazing. And I want nothing more but just more Synology because of that system. However, The problem I have with the surveillance system is that it is good, and I have it set up with the 2 free cameras it lets me set up with to constantly record, like let's say 15 days. But it's just expensive if you want to expand. So I just did a review on a QNAP system, little system like this, and it comes with 8 free camera licenses. 8. Now you can purchase more, I don't know how much they are, but 8 comes included because it uses your own hardware, because it's, all going to your own hard drives. It allows you to do 8 of them for free. Synology, on the other hand, they only give you 2. And then if you want to add another camera, you have to buy a license for that camera. You have to pay them $50 to $60 for the convenience of loading your camera onto your NAS that you purchased onto your hard drives. $50 or $60 seems a little extreme for the convenience of using your own hardware. Unlocking, right? Like, that just seems weird. Like, hopefully Synology doesn't take this as a bash. I'm not trying to hate here, but realistically speaking, if you like use Blue Iris or whatever, it's like $50, $60, and then $30 a year, right? For, I don't know, what is it, 18 cameras or 30 cameras? I don't know. It's stupid scalable. QNAP gives you 8 right out the gate. I mean, when it comes to cost, it's just, I would not recommend Synology for the surveillance station. I would recommend Synology for the backup stuff. But if you're like looking actively to get a surveillance solution, you're going to spend a lot of money to incorporate Synology. You will gain the benefit of the backup stuff, but you're going to spend a lot of money on the surveillance stuff with Synology. Don't get me wrong, I do love the Synology system I have, just the dollars and the cents don't make up. So, next question is from Crumpet Cruncher. Has anyone tried replacing the usual lead acid batteries in most UPS with the equivalent life PO4 lithium iron phosphate battery to see if it still works, recharges the same, but you could get better run? Okay. Funny story. I actually recorded a video showcasing me testing this out using a regular UPS, hooking up a lithium iron phosphate battery to it, getting everything working, and just be like, that's interesting. And then noticing some major heat issues on the connectors. And the way I did it, this wasn't like a battery. This wasn't a like not compatible thing. This is the way I did it. It overheated really, really bad. I never edited that video. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, but it was dangerous because I, in a very limited testing fashion, hooked it up and had some heat issues just with the connectors, which is not actually 100% relevant to what he's referring to, which is the chemistry compatibility between, like, let's say the AGM, the sealed batteries. Most UPSs run those little batteries are like 9 amp hours, and their charging voltage compared to lithium iron phosphate is actually really, really close. It's like 14.6 versus 14.8 or something like that. Before I say anything more, I want to tell you unequivocally, do not do this. Like, this is not a thing. Don't do it. Terrible idea. Like, no, it's bad. It's horrible. Fires will start. The gates of hell will open up and swallow your house or whatever scares you into not doing it. So don't do it. But hypothetically speaking, the charging voltages are really close for lithium iron phosphate batteries, specifically versus old lithium batteries. It's really close to the standard UPS charging voltages. And even though your reading as far as like how full your batteries are will be completely off, just because the drop off for lithium is way different than a lead acid, your charging capacity is going to be completely off. Upgrading it is not actually terrible. If you're getting the pre-made boxes, like the ones that I've reviewed, I probably have one sitting around here somewhere. If you get those pre-made ones, they come with their own battery management system. In the past, if you look this up, everybody's like, no, you'll overcharge it, fires will happen, explosions can happen, all that other stuff is all caused by not having an active battery management system. Mostly, again, refer to previous comment, don't do this, you'll set on fire. But with these new batteries, they have built-in battery management systems. They protect your batteries from being overcharged. They protect your batteries from being over-discharged. They protect your batteries, if they're working, from exploding. Mostly, right? I mean, your batteries can still go bad, but you're not probably, I don't want to encourage you to do this, but for the most part, they shouldn't start on fire. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, or anything like that, make sure to post them in the comments section down below. As always, a list of my active YouTube members will be listed at the end of this video in the post credits, which I don't even know what I'm gonna do. Maybe I'm gonna talk about some stuff. I have no idea. But thank you guys. If you guys are active members of this channel, I definitely appreciate you supporting the craziness that goes on in my basement. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. Like and subscribe below and have yourself a great day. So I built this little Lazy Susan. I bought the round thing, and I bought the thing on Amazon, the wheel thing. I bought all that, put it together, mainly because I wanted something large, and I didn't want to spend like $200 on one. And anyways, I built this thing, and it has been so nice because I rebuilt my computer. I'm actually currently in the process of rebuilding it because I had to go plug it in, get it up and running, run some tests, and wait on some parts so I could finish building it. But I was able to put it on top of this and then just move it around and just be like, oh, let's flip it to the back. Let's do this. Let's flip it to the front. Let's do this. Super awesome. This made building just so much more pleasant. And I am totally happy that I got this. I originally was like, oh, I'm going to use it for B-roll. I can set this thing right there and point the camera at it and be like, whoa. But I just don't really see that being a huge thing compared to just being able to use this to work on stuff, just moving stuff around. But it's a little underneath the thing that I put on there. I put a lot of grease because I just wanted it to just slide as easy as possible. So like I didn't want to pick it up and put it on the carpet because those things have fresh grease on it and it's kind of exposed, and then I don't want the dog hair and stuff like that getting all wrapped up in, underneath it. So that's why I just left it here. That's that story. I am rebuilding my computer, and I'm waiting on the little flattener thing for the CPU. Basically, I put everything together, and my performance cores are just they're crazy. So it's just a default XMP profile, but they get really, really hot, and I have 2 massive radiators in there with a ton of fans. Yes, I am running my GPU as well, my 3090, but you know, they're just a little out of control. So I took a photo of my thermal paste that I put on there, and somebody posted or pointed out that there was a dog hair in there that I did not see when I put it together. That may or may not be the culprit, but I do know that the 12th and the 13th series both have the issue with not being flat just because the way they're mounted. So I actually have already got it. I need to finish building it, but I have to apply that flattening thing on there to get a closer connection to my water block. And then hopefully that will get my temperatures under control, because they hit TJ max. Like they go all the way to 100 and then they start throttling back, and it's just not something that I enjoy. That's not good, right? And my server rebuild, that has been a continuing thing because I've been moving massive amounts, like 1 million plus files for DVR footage. And I've been using ChatGPT to customize and build Unraid commands for me to do it faster and organize files and sort files. And it's just been a long process. I'm using the Btrfs system as a secondary pool on Unraid. And every time you add a drive or a couple drives or whatever, it takes like a week or 2. It's insane. Like it's just painstakingly slow. So yeah, you know, that update is still coming because I'm literally not even done setting it up. But I have successfully passed through a GPU. I got Blue Iris to run on a VM. I haven't like dedicated it to that because I've been using those cores to do other things, and I wanted to use the maximum speed of my server, which has got me rethinking, do I even want to have a virtual machine on my server? Because there are certain times where I'm doing stuff and I really want all of the resources of my server. And just like I don't want to run pfSense on it, or in the past didn't want to run pfSense on it, put all your eggs in one basket, one server goes down, everything goes down. I don't know. I'm really rethinking, do I want to run a VM with Blue Iris? What do you guys think?